What's up, everybody? Welcome to BODHI. I'm Tamal. This is Hallie. We're going to do another session of yoga for absolute beginners, working on our hips today. But before we get into all that, let's start in child's pose. Come onto your hands and knees, tops of your feet flat on the mat. Sit on your heels, place your forehead to the earth. Either arms extend forward or arms down by your sides. If you feel like this is a little too much for your knees, you can always take a rolled up towel or a bolster and wedge it between your calf muscles and your hamstrings. If this irritates the shins or the patella of the kneecaps, you can always take a towel folded up and slide it underneath the shins and the knees so there's an extra cushion or barrier between you and the floor. I always like to elevate my head by placing on it, whether a block or a folded up towel or shirt, something that my head can rest on so I'm not thinking about my neck, but I'm here just in this restorative place to think about my breath. Because the last thing we want is our mind to trail off. We create these really restorative poses so that we can let go of our to-do list, let go of any physical discomfort, and we just have this simple task of inhale, exhale, intake, output. And as we harness our breathing, as we get it under our control, then we can take a big inhale through the nose, hold it at the top. Out of the mouth. Again, inhale deeply through the nose. Holding at the peak. Let it go. Stretch the arms forward as far as they'll go. Spread the hands wide. So you're stretching the fingers and the webbing between the fingers. Then we'll sink the tailbone away from the arms. So you should feel this kind of stretching or lengthening in the lower back area. And then we tuck the toes, we lift the knees, and we find downward facing dog. Hips go up and back. First down dog is always going to feel the most resistance. So if you want to pedal your legs out a little, shift your weight side to side, do any fidgeting that feels appropriate. And then we should just settle with the legs hips width apart, the heels disappearing behind the toes, the arms are shoulder width apart, fingers point forward, the hands spread wide, the forearms will lift, the upper outer arms wrap down and around, the belly goes in, the hips move back, the thigh bones move back. And then we'll lift the right leg up. Bend your knee and open up your hip. So today's session is going to have a lot of hip stretching type things in it. That being said, we want to be kind of mindful and very calculated with our actions. So notice if your chest is opening up, lift your left armpit more and wrap the right tricep down. Come up high on the left toes, lunge the right foot between your hands, drop the left knee and release your left toes and scoot the left leg further back. When we scoot the left leg further back, it helps us get into the pose and its fuller expression. Once you're here, come up, reach to the sky. If you feel like there's some irritation or aggravation in that left knee, again, you can always put a towel or some kind of cushion there. I like to fold the corner of my mat up quite a bit and stick it there. From here, we're sinking the hips forward and down. But what we don't want is to really crease and compress where that right thigh bone is joining the right hip. So, Hallie, I want you to sink a lot right here, like that. And then you'll see this big crease happening where this femur bone is joining the hip socket, right around the greater trochanter. So I want you to lift the right hip away from the right thigh bone, that little bony bone on the right side. And then we're going to start taking the front ribs in, softening the shoulders down. Very nice. And we breathe. We should have a little bit of marination time in each pose. Take a big inhale, and exhale, hands come down. Tuck your back toes, pick up your back knee. Let's step back to down dog. Let's lift the left leg up, bend the knee and open up the hip. So remember, we're being calculated, methodical with what we're doing here. Notice if your chest is opening up and you're dumping your weight into that right palm. I want you to lift the right armpit, get heavier in your left palm, and wrap the left tricep down. So the torso, the chest is squaring. Come up high in the right toes, lunge the left foot forward, drop the right knee, release the right toes, scoot the right leg way back, and then reach to the sky. So if you need to put some kind of padding or cushioning underneath the right leg, that's always a nice option. Otherwise, the hips sink forward and down, but we're trying to pull the left hip bone away from the left thigh bone again. Take the front ribs in so the back ribs lift up, the arms get straighter, the shoulders get softer, the breath gets deeper. Take a big inhale, then exhale, hands come down. Tuck your back toes, pick up the back knee, find downward facing dog. So we'll bring your hands in a little bit closer, just a couple of inches, just together, not necessarily back. Yeah. Let's lift your right leg up, bend the knee and open up the hip. Come up high on your left toes, lunge the right foot to the outside of your right hand, the pinky finger side. Stay here on the ball of the back foot for a moment. I want you to steer the right hip back and the left hip forward. Now we'll drop the left knee to the floor. Release your left toes and scoot that left leg further back. So you can either stay just like this, or if you have two big books or two blocks at home, you can always place the blocks down right in the inside of the right foot and rest your forearms there to get deeper into the pose. Otherwise, staying on your hands is completely fine. And we breathe. All that built up congestion in your hips just starts to get wrung out here. I look at yoga as kind of like a detox of muscular tension. It's a cleanse for the muscles. We'll come on to the hands. If you have books or blocks, you can move them to the side. We'll tuck the back toes, pick up the back knee, downward facing dog. So we know where we're going. The hands should be slightly closer together. We lift the left leg up, we bend the knee, open up the hip, come up high in the right toes, lunge the left foot to the outside of the left hand, pause, steer the hips. Left hip goes back, right hip moves forward. Then we drop the right knee, release the right toes, scoot the right leg back. Either stay on your hands or adjust with your forearms on books or blocks on the inside of that left foot. And we breathe. No rush. And that's the thing, is most of the time when we're left alone to stretch, we just kind of blow through them. It's like, oh, I did that stretch for 15 seconds and that one for 10 seconds. But the longer we sit in this, the more our body's just going to slowly surrender. Our body starts to communicate with other parts of the body that normally had barriers or blockages. We find the release. And then we're going to come up onto your hands if you're on your forearms. If you have blocks or books, move them out of the way. We'll go to down dog. So this time you can open up your arms again, shoulder width apart, so you can go back to the original position of the hands. We'll lift the right leg up, bend the knee and open up the hip, just so we're getting that nice stretch. Come up high on the left toes, lunge the right foot forward. Drop the left knee, release your left toes, and scoot the left leg further back. So this point is where I really encourage you guys getting a bolster, or if you have a big towel, rolling a towel up and placing it directly underneath that right hamstring. Then you're gonna walk your right foot to the left, drop the right knee towards the right. So we're in a pigeon pose, Kapotasana. If you wanna stay on your hands, you can. If you wanna put your forearms on blocks or books, or rest your forehead on a block or a book, those are all great options. The left inner thigh should be rotating up, and we breathe. Hip day. Let's come onto your hands if you're not there already. Let's tuck your back toes, pick up your back knee. If you need to move a towel or a bolster out, you can. Let's find down dog. Let's lift the left leg up. Lunge the left foot forward. Drop the right knee, release the right toes again. Scoot the right leg way back. We have to always set that up. Place your towel or bolster underneath the left hamstring. Then you can walk the left foot to the right. Drop the left knee to the left. Settle in according to however you feel appropriate. I usually like to do whatever I did the first side on the second side as well. Notice if you're holding tension in the shoulders, see if you can soften the trapezius down. Let's come onto your hands if you're not there already. Let's tuck your back toes. Let's find downward facing dog. Let's take a big cleansing inhale and hold your breath at the top. Out of the mouth. Lower the knees. You can cross one ankle over the other, sit behind your feet, or swoop your legs through to the front, swivel off to the side. Let's scoot forward, lay on your back. Hug the knees into your chest. Last little hip thing we're gonna do is happy baby. Arms go split between your legs. You either hold the outer edges of your feet or your outer ankles, or you can catch the knees. Your choice. Hallie's gonna grab the feet. Notice if your butt's lifting way off the ground. See if you can sink the sacrum, it's like that upside down triangle, onto the floor. But then notice if your low back bubbles up. You wanna draw on your belly to sink the lumbar down. If you find that you're concaving in your chest, plug your shoulder blades into the upper back so you widen the sternum and collarbones, and you sink the back of the shoulder, the posterior deltoid down. And then we breathe. And we hug the knees to the chest. Place your forehead onto your knees. Let's take a very big inhale. Hold your breath. Squeeze everything, all tension, all stress into one tight little ball. And then let it all go. Sprawl open, Shavasana. You've arrived. If you want to take a towel or a bolster and roll it up and place it underneath your knees for your resting pose, it's always an incredible option. We just want to emphasize your palms facing up so that your shoulders can open and relax. Let your breath be deep, no more ujjayi, just let it be natural. So I encourage you to lay here for at least 3 minutes. 3 minutes or more. Thank you for practicing with me. And this is a session of yoga for absolute beginners. I'll see you guys again soon. Namaste.